Some of the animal facts we all take for granted are just completely wrong. Like, a wagging tail doesn't always mean a happy dog. And that epic lion roar you hear in movies? Total lie. So today, we are going to dig in and expose the animal myths you've probably believed your whole life.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You see a dog, its tail is going a mile a minute, and you automatically think, ah, what a happy pup. It's just instinct. But what if that instinct is wrong? What if we've been misreading our best friends this entire time?
So, that's our mission for this explainer. We're going to shatter some of the most common myths out there about the animal kingdom. It is time to separate the facts from the fiction. Let's get into it.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to uncover some secrets that our own pets are hiding. Then, we'll tackle the crazy legends Hollywood made up about wild animals. After that, we'll dive into the world of some seriously misunderstood critters, and we'll wrap things up with a rapid-fire myth-busting finale.
Okay, first up, man's best friend. You'd think we know everything about them, right? From how they see the world to how they cool off. But as you're about to find out, our furry friends are holding on to a few pretty big secrets.
We have all heard this a million times. We've probably all said it a million times. A wagging tail is just the universal sign for a happy dog. Isn't it?
Well, not quite. See, a wagging tail just means a dog is in a state of high emotional arousal. Now, that could be happy excitement, for sure, but it could also be fear or anxiety or even a warning sign of aggression. The direction and the speed of the wag tell a much bigger story. The key here is you got to look at the whole dog, not just the tail, before you go in for a pet.
And what about how they see the world? The old story is that dogs see everything in black and white like an old TV show. But that's just not true. They absolutely see in color, just not the same way we do. They're basically red-green colorblind, so their world is made up of beautiful shades of yellow and blue.
Here's another one that might surprise you. You see a dog panting, tongue hanging out, and you assume that's how they're sweating, right? Nope. Panting is basically their built-in air conditioner. They actually sweat through their paw pads and their nose.
Okay, let's step out of the house and head into the wild, where Hollywood has spun some seriously powerful and powerfully wrong stories about some of the world's most famous predators.
You can picture it, right? One tiny drop of blood hits the water, and instantly, a shark from miles away zeroes in. It's classic movie terror. But that's all it is, movie magic. The reality is way less dramatic. A shark's sense of smell is incredible, yeah, but we're talking a range of maybe a couple hundred meters, not miles. And here's the real kicker. They're wired to detect the blood of their prey, which is fish. Human blood, it just doesn't register as food to them.
All right, let's talk about the so-called king of the jungle. First problem with that title, lions don't live in the jungle. They live out on the open grasslands and savannas. And the second myth, the king isn't even the main hunter. The lionesses are the real strategists, working together to hunt, while the male often just, well, he waits for dinner to be served.
And if you need any more proof of how deep the fiction goes, just think about that iconic MGM lion roar. You know the one, that powerful thundering sound we all think of as a lion's roar? Yeah, that's a tiger.
And Hollywood did the exact same thing to the American bald eagle. In movies, it has this majestic, powerful screech that just screams freedom. The real sound, it's kind of like a high-pitched, chirpy little squeak. That incredible cry you're used to hearing, it actually belongs to a red-tailed hawk.
And while we're on eagles, you can forget all those stories about them flying off with small children or even your pets. The absolute maximum an eagle can realistically carry is about 4 pounds. That's it. The physics just doesn't work out.
Okay, for our third round, let's talk about the creatures that get a really bad rap, the ones we're often scared of. It's time to clear the air about some of the most misunderstood animals out there.
Let's start with a big one. Spiders are not insects. I know, people lump them together all the time, but biologically, they're in completely different categories. Spiders are arachnids. That means 8 legs and 2 main body parts. Insects have 6 legs and 3 body parts. They're just not the same thing.
And then there are snakes, which are just surrounded by myths. So let's bust 3 of the biggest ones right now. 1, they are not slimy. Their skin is totally dry. 2, baby snakes are not more dangerous than adults. The adults are, simply because they have way more venom to inject. And 3, snakes are not aggressive. They're actually shy and would much rather get away from you than fight. Biting is their absolute last resort.
I mean, come on. We've all said this phrase before. It's just shorthand for someone who can't see a thing.
But guess what?
The whole phrase is a lie. Bats are far from blind. In fact, most of them have excellent eyesight. Some can even see in the ultraviolet spectrum. It's like a superpower for spotting insects at night. And here's a little bonus fact for you. Not all bats hang upside down. A few species actually have tiny suction cups that let them chill upright on smooth leaves. How cool is that?
All right, we've made it to our final section. Let's do a quick fire round and bust some of the most stubborn myths about a few animals you see on the farm. Okay, here we go. First up, cows. They don't have 4 stomachs. It's one big stomach with 4 different compartments. Next, camels. That hump is not a water tank. It's a giant lump of fat they use for energy. The water is stored in their bloodstream. And finally, bulls. They don't hate the color red, they're actually colorblind to it. What gets them angry is the threatening motion of that waving cape.
So, after all that, what's the real lesson here? It's that being knowledgeable isn't just about cramming your head with new information. It's also about having the guts to unlearn the things you were so sure were true.
And that leaves me with one last thought for you. We just unlearned a whole bunch of facts about the animal kingdom. So the real question is, what other facts in your life might be ready for a second look? Thanks for joining me.